Good evening, weary traveler, and welcome once more to a tranquil journey through the quiet, vast, and profoundly disciplined corridors of human history, as the day's last golden light softly, slowly, and peacefully fades away, retreating beyond the distant horizon, and the modern world outside your window begins its gentle, nightly hush. We extend to you a warm invitation. We encourage you to settle deeply, very deeply, into your most comfortable and secure space. Allow your thoughts to gently and serenely unwind, slowly untangling themselves from the day's persistent concerns. Prepare your mind, calmly and patiently, for a truly immersive, yet profoundly tranquil voyage into a time long, long past, to a world where honor was a guiding star, and life, even for its most celebrated warriors, was dictated by an intricate, unyielding set of routines and silent expectations. Tonight, we will venture far, far beyond the hurried, often fragmented rhythm of our contemporary existence. We will turn our gaze, with deliberate intention, towards a pivotal, iconic, and often romanticized figure in European history, the medieval knight. Specifically, our focus will be on what medieval knights actually did all day beyond fighting, providing a deep, meticulous dive into the everyday existence of these legendary warriors. This is a narrative that seeks to transcend the grand tales of dramatic battles, of heroic jousts, and of valiant crusades. Instead, we will delve into the harsh, often unyielding, yet deeply repetitive and surprisingly uniform routines that govern the lives of millions, bound by the relentless, predictable, yet powerful demands of status, courtly etiquette, and the constant, subtle pursuit of martial excellence within a world of immense privilege, but also profound, quiet constraint and endless disciplined toil. Imagine, for a long, quiet, contemplative moment, a life dictated not by chaotic ambition for immediate glory, but by the relentless, unceasing demands of a rigid code of chivalry, by an almost obsessive pursuit of perfection in martial skill and courtly decorum, and by the constant, gentle flow of ritual and tradition. A world where the dawn brought not the promise of wild adventure, but the absolute certainty of endless, familiar tasks, where every precious hour, every single minute, was consumed by a single, often physically demanding, repetitive routine, performed within the sturdy confines of a castle courtyard, or along the quiet, meticulously tended training grounds, under the ever-present, watchful gaze of ancient stone walls and a frequently overcast sky. This was a life of quiet, profound endurance, of deep physical engagement with a highly refined yet deeply restrictive environment, and of an almost hypnotic monotony that, paradoxically, can now serve to lull the modern mind into a state of deep calm. A gentle invitation to surrender to a simpler, more structured, and certainly more ornate rhythm of existence. We will explore the subtle sounds of rhythmic sword practice, the gentle clinking of polished armor, the pervasive scent of leather and horse sweat, and the endless precise movements of human hands, synchronized with the demanding, ancient rhythms of martial training and courtly life. This is a story not of heroic battles or dramatic political intrigues, but of the silent, persistent grind of daily existence, of the human spirit's quiet resilience in the face of overwhelming social pressure, unpredictable shifts in political alliances, and profound emotional challenges. It is a narrative woven from countless threads of physical effort, of ceaseless, repetitive motions, and of the subtle yet ever-present challenges of maintaining honor, of navigating complex social dynamics, and of finding personal meaning in a world where individual desire was often secondary to feudal duty and the stability of the realm. It is designed to be a gentle lullaby, an invitation for your own mind to find its perfect stillness, allowing the rhythmic, unceasing sounds and detailed sensations of a bygone era to guide you towards a truly restorative rest. So now, as you listen, breathe deeply, very deeply, letting your chest gently rise and fall with each breath. Feel the comforting, soft weight of your blanket surrounding you, wrapping you in a cocoon of warmth and security. Feel the gentle, steady rhythm of your own breath, a quiet anchor in the present moment. And finally, allow your mind to simply drift, too slowly, peacefully, begin its imagined journey into this opulent, ancient, and profoundly tranquil historical landscape. Let the whispers of tireless diligence and the imagined echoes of silent, magnificent castle halls guide your thoughts serenely and without haste, towards a state of profound stillness, ultimate peace, and a truly restful, dream-filled sleep. Having gently embarked upon our tranquil journey into the heart of medieval Europe, allowing our modern minds to slowly drift towards its grand, intricately structured landscapes of power and tradition, let us now fully immerse ourselves in the lived experience of an iconic, yet often misunderstood figure, the medieval knight. We are about to step into a world that, despite its outward appearance of valor and martial prowess, was often profoundly, even uncomfortably, defined by rigid routines, constant expectations, and a pervasive sense of elegant confinement within the castle walls. Imagine for a quiet, contemplative moment awakening within the sturdy yet often bustling confines of a medieval castle, a vast complex of courtyards, chambers, and training grounds designed to house hundreds, sometimes thousands of people dedicated entirely to the lord it served. This is a place where every waking moment was governed by intricate rituals, where personal desire was secondary to feudal protocol, and where the very rhythm of life was dictated by the unceasing pursuit of martial excellence and subtle influence. Imagine yourself stirring, not with a sudden jolt, but with a slow, gradual recognition of your opulent, yet functional surrounding. Your sleeping space is often comfortable, perhaps a richly carved wooden bed with heavy woolen hangings that softly drape around you, creating a private cocoon of warmth and comfort against the cold stone walls. The air, even in the stillness before dawn, is clean, fresh, subtly infused with the delicate, calming scent of wood smoke that lingers from the castle's hearths, and the faint, sweet aroma of beeswax from candles. There are no expansive windows offering wide views of the outside world, but rather narrow, deep-set slits in the thick stone walls, sometimes covered with oiled parchment or translucent horn, diffusing the morning light into a soft ethereal glow, keeping the chamber in a state of perpetual cool dimness. Your mattress, filled with soft straw feathers or wool, offers a familiar comfort, its rough texture a gentle caress against your skin. You rise slowly, gracefully, your muscles perfectly rested, accustomed to a life of physical training. The polished stone or sturdy wooden floor beneath your bare feet is cool, smooth, its texture familiar against your soles, utterly clean. The awakening is not silent. Even before the sun has begun its slow ascent, the vast castle complex around you begins to stir with a subtle, internal hum. From beyond your chamber, separated only by thick wooden doors or heavy tapestries, you might hear the soft, rhythmic footsteps of early rising squires and servants moving through the long, quiet corridors, their presence a constant unseen backdrop to your life. You might distinguish the muffled sounds of horses stirring in the distant stables, their gentle snorting and the soft rustle of straw, perhaps the faint, distant clang of a blacksmith's hammer, already at work in the castle forge, beginning its rhythmic beat. These sounds are not intrusive in an alarming way, but they are a constant, gentle reminder of the unbroken proximity of countless other individuals, of lives intimately intertwined within the rigid hierarchy of the castle. As the pre-dawn hours slowly progress, the internal sounds of the castle begin to mingle with the first, distant whispers from the outer courtyards. The mighty castle, though somewhat isolated, never truly sleeps in complete silence. You might hear the distant, muffled chime of a castle bell marking the earliest hour of prayer, or the faint, rhythmic footsteps of guards changing shifts on the battlements. The air, though still cool, now carries the faint, sharp scent of wood smoke from the numerous hearths, as countless cooking fires are slowly being kindled across the immense compound, their tendrils of smoke rising into the nascent dawn. You would rise slowly, carefully, your body feeling refreshed, your mind calm, and begin the elaborate process of preparing for the day, a ritual of meticulous grooming and dressing, aided by your personal squires and servants. The process of personal grooming for a medieval knight was an elaborate, unhurried, and deeply ritualistic affair, a central pillar of their daily existence. There is no rushed showering or quick styling. Instead, a retinue of personal squires and servants, moving with trained grace and efficiency, would assist him. Imagine sitting patiently before a polished steel mirror, its surface gleaming softly in the lamplight. A servant would bring a large, shallow wooden basin of warm, often scented water, perhaps infused with delicate herbs. You would dip your hands and face into the soothing, warm liquid, feeling its gentle caress awaken your skin, its subtle perfume filling your senses. Your hair, meticulously groomed and often kept short, would then be carefully brushed and styled by the gentle hands of your attendant. Beyond the basic washing and hair care, the careful application of subtle beard balms or scented oils was an intricate, time-consuming art, ensuring his noble countenance was always presentable. Each step was performed with immense precision, ensuring a look of refined, understated dignity that conformed to the aesthetic ideals of the court. The faint, sweet aroma of these oils, a blend of natural essences, would fill the air around you, creating a subtle, personal cloud of fragrance. This entire process, slow and deliberate, was a continuous act of self-adornment, a quiet dedication to maintaining an image of martial nobility. Dressing in your daily attire was another act of quiet, precise layering, often involving multiple delicate garments. You would carefully select your undergarments, typically made of soft, breathable linen, which are then meticulously placed upon your body by your attendants. Over this, you would don your everyday tunics and breeches, perhaps made of richly embroidered wool or fine linen that whispers softly as it settled around your form. Each fold, each knot, each intricate fastening is made with a deliberate hand, ensuring that the garment sits perfectly, reflecting the outer order that mirrored inner discipline and your precise status within the castle's strict hierarchy. The subtle rustle of the fine fabric as you moved, the feel of its luxurious texture against your skin, are quiet sensations that become part of the background of your mourning, a constant reminder of your privileged, yet constrained, existence. Finally, your squires would carefully assist you in adorning yourself with a finely crafted belt, perhaps a small, elegant dagger in its sheath, and other subtle accoutrements of your rank. Their cool, smooth surfaces, a gentle touch against your skin, their subtle weight, a constant, distinguished presence. Breakfast, a substantial and refined meal, would be a serene affair, often taken in a private dining alcove or a smaller chamber, overlooking a tranquil inner courtyard or a distant, misty landscape. Imagine the delicate clinking of silver cutlery against fine pewter plates, the gentle pouring of cool water or mild ale into simple goblets. The aromas would be rich and inviting, the warm, comforting scent of freshly baked bread, perhaps a hearty stew of vegetables and game, a piece of local cheese or fresh fruit from the castle orchards. The conversation, if any, would be hushed, perhaps discussing the day's primary appointments, the progress of estate management, or plans for a quiet patrol. There would be no hurried rush, no sense of urgency. The meal was a time for calm, personal reflection, for savoring the quiet comforts of a perfectly ordered, secure home before the more formal engagements of the day truly began. The discreet movements of the household staff, ensuring every need was anticipated and met with silent grace, would contribute to an unbroken sense of peace, a constant, underlying hum of well-being. Following breakfast, a significant portion of a knight's day, even during peacetime, was dedicated to rigorous, disciplined training. This was rarely the dramatic, high-stakes combat portrayed in stories. Instead, it was a repetitive, almost meditative practice of kata, or drills, with the sword, the lance, the axe, or even bare hands. Imagine yourself stepping into the castle's practice yard, a large open space, perhaps with a packed earth surface, its ground worn smooth by countless hours of training. The air might carry the faint scent of dust, of polished metal, and of human effort, but the dominant atmosphere is one of profound concentration. You begin your warm-up, slow, deliberate movements designed to limber your body and focus your mind. Then, you draw your practice sword, a heavy wooden wassail or a blunted metal blade, from its scabbard with a fluid, silent motion. The practice of kata is often a solo endeavor, or performed with a training partner under strict supervision. A private conversation between your body and your spirit. Each movement, the precise stance, the controlled swing, the deliberate thrust, the exact placement of your feet, the subtle shifting of your weight is performed countless times. Slowly, deliberately, focusing on absolute perfection of form. The sounds are subtle yet rhythmic. The soft swish of your tunic as you turn, the gentle thud of your heavy boots on the packed earth, the almost imperceptible whoosh of air as your blade cuts through it, or the soft clang of wooden swords meeting. There is no instructor shouting commands. Your own inner voice, your own self-correction, guides you, or the calm, measured voice of a master rotarms offers gentle, precise feedback. This is not about defeating an opponent in a duel. It is about refining your own self, about achieving perfect harmony between mind, body, and weapon, about cultivating an unwavering inner stillness. The repetitive nature of the kata, performed day after day, year after year, slowly builds muscle memory so profound it becomes instinctual, yet also cultivates a deep, unwavering inner calm. Each breath is synchronized with each movement, creating a seamless flow that is both physically demanding and profoundly meditative, leading to a state of quiet, focused awareness, where the outside world slowly fades into insignificance. Beyond sword practice, a knight's training also involved extensive horsemanship. Imagine yourself in the castle's riding yard, mounted on a powerful warhorse, its coat gleaming softly in the morning sun. You would spend hours practicing intricate maneuvers, learning to control the animal with subtle shifts of weight, with gentle nudges of the knee, and with soft reins. The sounds would be the rhythmic clop-clop of the horse's hooves on the dirt, the soft creak of the saddle leather, the gentle snort of the horse, and the low reassuring murmur of your own voice as you spoke to the animal. This was not merely riding, it was a deep, intuitive communication with another living being, a constant process of refining your control and balance. The repetitive loops around the training yard, the slow, deliberate movements, built a profound connection between rider and horse, a partnership essential for both battle and travel. The maintenance of a knight's equipment, particularly his armor and weapons, was a meticulous, time-consuming, and profoundly repetitive daily ritual. This was not a quick chore, but a sacred duty. Imagine yourself in a quiet corner of the armory, or in your own chamber, carefully unwrapping your chainmail from its protective cloth. Feeling the cool, smooth, intricate texture of its countless interlocking rings, you would then spend hours meticulously polishing each piece of chainmail, each plate of your plate armor, with fine sand and oil, using soft rags, the rhythmic rub of the polishing cloth on metal, the soft clink-clink of the chainmail as you turned it, the subtle shimmer of the steel as it slowly regained its luster. These were the constant sounds of this task. Each detail of your sword, the hilt, the pommel, the scabbard was inspected, cleaned, and oiled with immense care. This was a process that could take many hours, demanding absolute focus and deep respect for the tools of your trade. The quiet sounds of maintenance, the soft rub of the polishing cloth, the gentle clink of metal against leather, all contributed to a profound sense of order and care that permeated a knight's disciplined life, a continuous act of readiness and reverence. The medieval knight was also expected to uphold a strict code of chivalry and elaborate courtly etiquette, which governed every interaction, every gesture, every spoken word, even in seemingly mundane situations. Imagine yourself in the great hall, attending your lord at a feast. Your posture would be meticulously straight, your gaze respectful yet not direct, your movements slow and deliberate, designed to convey humility and deference. The act of bowing, a fundamental part of every greeting and farewell, was not a hurried nod, but a precise, measured movement. The depth of the bow conveying the degree of respect. Even the way you sat, the way you ate, the way you held your cup, was a disciplined act, constantly refined. Conversation, too, was a carefully navigated art. Words were chosen with immense care, often formal and indirect, avoiding any hint of bluntness or disrespect, particularly in the presence of ladies or superiors. Imagine the quiet tension, not of fear, but of absolute self-control, as you chose your words, modulating your tone, ensuring that every syllable conveyed the appropriate reverence and politeness. There was little room for spontaneity or casual expression of raw emotion. Anger, frustration, joy, all were carefully veiled beneath a placid, composed exterior. This constant need for self-regulation, for maintaining a calm demeanor regardless of internal feelings or external circumstances, was a lifelong practice, a hidden struggle for inner peace amidst external rigidity. It meant that even during quiet moments of social gathering, the mind was constantly, subtly engaged in upholding the strict code of conduct, leading to a state of sustained, gentle alertness, a continuous, internal discipline. The duties of a knight in peacetime extended beyond personal training to the quiet administration and defense of the castle or manor. This might involve spending hours in the castle's administrative wing, reviewing reports from the bailiff or the steward, discussing agricultural yields, or listening to petitions from the peasantry. The sounds would be the soft rustle of parchment, the quiet murmur of voices, the rhythmic scratching of a scribe's quill. Or, perhaps, your duty was to lead a patrol, riding slowly, silently, through the Lord's lands, observing the village, ensuring peace and order, listening to the distant sounds of forest life. This was a quiet, constant guardianship, a demonstration of authority through presence, rather than overt action. The constant awareness of your responsibilities, the quiet weight of your duty, permeated every aspect of your day. The pervasive silence of the castle, when not actively engaged in a feast or a dramatic event, could be profoundly isolating, even amidst the presence of many. You might go for long stretches without engaging in deep personal conversation. Your thoughts, your primary companions, the sounds of the castle, the ceaseless whisper of the wind through the battlements, the distant calls of watchmen, the creak of ancient timbers, become your constant companions. This immense, unbroken silence can be both profoundly comforting, allowing for deep introspection, and at times deeply unsettling. emphasizing your profound solitude and the weighty responsibility you bore. Your thoughts become your primary indeed, your only companions, a constant internal monologue as you observe the minute details of the passing day. A new tapestry hung a subtle shift in the light, the steady flow of daily routines around you. This forced solitude, this immense quietude could lead to a deep meditative state, a profound connection with the self and the vastness of your duty. Or it could amplify any underlying anxieties, emphasizing your complete reliance on your own internal fortitude. As the sun began its slow, gradual descent towards the western horizon, painting the sky with fiery oranges, deep purples, and soft fading blues, the air gradually, slowly, began to cool again, bringing with it the damp, pervasive chill of the medieval night. The shadows lengthened, stretching endlessly across the castle courtyard and through the great halls, before finally, inevitably, merging into the complete, profound darkness of night. The knight, weary from his day of disciplined training, meticulous duties, and structured social interactions, would slowly prepare for the evening. The sounds of the castle at night would be the soft, rhythmic breathing of sleeping companions, the gentle crackling of a dying fire in the great hall, the subtle creak of old timbers as the mighty structure responded to the cooling night air, and the distant muffled calls of watchmen or nocturnal animals from the surrounding forest, all blending into a soothing, natural lullaby. This deep, shared sleep, born of an entire day of unyielding discipline, constant service, and profound emotional adaptation, prepared his body for the inevitable, relentless rhythm of the coming dawn, knowing that tomorrow the sun would rise again, and the endless, silent, demanding routines of medieval nightly life, with all its gilded constraints and martial duties, would simply, quietly, continue guiding him, through sheer weariness, towards a deep, restorative sleep, a peaceful surrender to the ancient, eternal patterns of existence. Having deeply immersed ourselves in the intricate, meticulously ordered, and profoundly repetitive daily routines of a medieval night, experiencing the persistent hum of the castle, sensing the pervasive sense of wood smoke and old stone, and then contemplating the discipline of their personal grooming and endless training drills, let us now, slowly and with a profound shift in perspective, turn our gaze. We are about to step into a vastly different, yet equally disciplined and profoundly vital realm within the same vibrant civilization. The inner world of the medieval warhorse, the knight's silent partner, whose well-being and meticulous training were absolutely central to the knight's very existence. Far beyond the dramatic clash of steel, this is a narrative that seeks to transcend romanticized notions of heroic steeds, delving instead into the harsh, often unyielding, yet deeply repetitive and surprisingly uniform routines that govern the care, feeding, and continuous training of these magnificent animals. It was a world where immense physical strength intersected with profound, quiet patience, creating unique and pervasive psychological and physical challenges that would profoundly test the very sensibilities of a modern individual. Even amidst such a powerful and essential bond, imagine, for a long, quiet moment, the very start of such a day for a medieval warhorse. Deep within the sturdy stone walls of the castle stables, the hour is impossibly early, long before the first hint of golden light has even begun to paint the cold, grey eastern sky, which is still shrouded in the deep, cool indigo blue of predawn. You are awakened not by a jarring alarm nor by the subtle shift in air, but by the undeniable stirrings of the stable itself. Perhaps the faint, distant crow of a rooster from a nearby farm, or the low, almost imperceptible murmur of the stable hands beginning their quiet preparations, gently pulls you back from the depths of sleep. Your stall, a sturdy enclosure of rough-hewn timber and packed earth, feels cool and dark, its thick walls holding the night's coolness against the encroaching morning warmth. The air within carries a complex, earthy, comforting scent, dried hay, warm horse, and the subtle, unmistakable aroma of manure and old wood. There is no soft, yielding bed to linger in. Your straw bedding, deep and comfortable, offers a familiar warmth, its rustic texture a constant, subtle reminder of the pragmatic comforts of the age. You stir slowly, gently, your powerful muscles stretching, accustomed to the regular rhythm of stable life. The packed earth floor beneath your hooves is cool, firm, its texture familiar. The process of preparing for the day for a medieval warhorse was an elaborate, unhurried, and deeply ritualistic affair, a central pillar of its daily existence, meticulously orchestrated by stable hands and squires. There is no rushed feeding or quick grooming. Instead, a retinue of devoted attendants, moving with trained grace and efficiency, would begin their tasks. Imagine the stable hand, moving with quiet, purposeful steps, carrying a heavy bucket of fresh, cool water to your stall. The gentle splash of water into your trough, the cool, refreshing liquid against your muzzle, would be a welcome sensation. Then, a generous portion of oats or mixed grain, its earthy aroma filling the air, would be poured into your manger. The rhythmic sound of your steady chewing, the gentle snort as you consume your breakfast. These are the first sounds of your day, a profound connection to the sustenance that fuels your immense strength. After feeding, the meticulous grooming process would begin, a daily ritual that not only kept the horse clean, but also built an essential bond of trust and quiet communication between the animal and its caretaker. Imagine a squire, moving slowly, deliberately, into your stall, carrying a wooden curry comb and a soft brush. He would begin with the curry comb, working it gently, rhythmically, over your powerful flanks, loosening any dirt or matted hair. The soft, rhythmic scraping sound of the comb against your coat, the gentle shift of your weight as you responded to the touch, would be a soothing, repetitive sensation. Then, the squire would take a softer brush, running it with long, gentle strokes over your entire body, smoothing your coat until it gleamed. The sounds would be minimal, the soft whoosh of the brush, the gentle rustle of your mane and tail as they were meticulously detangled, the quiet murmur of the squire's voice as he spoke reassuringly to you. This entire process, slow and deliberate, was a continuous act of care and attention, a quiet dedication to maintaining your immense strength and majestic appearance. Dressing for the day, for a warhorse, involved a careful fitting of various pieces of tack, each essential for its role. You would feel the gentle pressure as the heavy leather bridle was slipped over your head, the smooth feel of the bit resting in your mouth. Then the saddle, often a heavy, padded wooden frame, would be carefully placed on your back, its weight settling firmly. This entire process was performed with immense precision, ensuring that each piece of equipment fit perfectly, preventing chafing or discomfort during the long hours of training or travel. The smells would be a familiar blend of tanned leather, horse, and the subtle oils used to condition the tack. The sounds would be soft, the gentle click of buckles, the subtle creak of leather, the hushed instructions of the stable hand, all blending into a rhythmic preparation for the day ahead. Following grooming and tacking, a significant portion of a warhorse's day, even during peacetime, was dedicated to rigorous, disciplined training. This was rarely the chaotic charge of battle. Instead, it was a repetitive, almost meditative practice of drills and maneuvers in the castle's training yard. Imagine yourself, a powerful warhorse, stepping into the large open space of the training yard, its packed earth surface worn smooth by countless hooves. The air might carry the faint scent of dust, of polished metal from distant armor, and of human effort, but the dominant atmosphere is one of profound concentration. You begin your warm-up slow, deliberate movements designed to limber your powerful muscles and focus your attention on your rider. The practice of drills is a demanding, yet rhythmic, endeavor, a precise dance between horse and rider. Each movement, the precise turn, the controlled stop, the deliberate canter, the exact placement of your hooves is performed countless times, slowly, deliberately, focusing on absolute perfection of form and instant obedience to your rider's subtle commands. The sounds are distinct yet rhythmic, the heavy thud-thud-thud of your hooves on the packed earth, the soft creak of the saddle leather, the gentle jingle of your bit, and the almost imperceptible murmur of your rider's voice as they give commands or offer reassurance. There is no shouting. The communication is subtle, a deep, intuitive bond built on endless repetition. This is not about a wild charge. It is about refining control, about achieving perfect harmony between horse and rider, about cultivating an unwavering inner stillness even in powerful motion. The repetitive nature of these drills, performed day after day, year after year, slowly builds muscle memory so profound it becomes instinctual, yet also cultivates a deep, unwavering calm within your powerful frame. Each breath is synchronized with each movement, creating a seamless flow that is both physically demanding and profoundly meditative, leading to a state of quiet, focused awareness, where the outside world slowly fades into insignificance. Beyond drills in the open yard, a warhorse's training also involves specific maneuvers designed for combat, practiced with a quiet, deliberate intensity. Imagine practicing a caracole, a precise half-turn, executed at full gallop, designed to confuse an enemy or quickly reposition, or perhaps practicing a pirouette, a controlled, tight turn on your hind legs, allowing for quick changes in direction. These advanced maneuvers required immense strength, agility, and a profound level of coordination with your rider. The sounds would be the powerful thundering of your hooves during a gallop, the strained grunts of your rider, and the subtle, rhythmic shifts of your own powerful body as you executed each precise movement. This was not chaotic violence. It was a highly refined, disciplined art, built on years of patient, repetitive practice. The care of a knight's equipment, particularly his armor and weapons, was a meticulous, time-consuming, and profoundly repetitive daily ritual for the squire. But the horse's own equipment, its tack, also required constant, dedicated attention. Imagine a stable hand spending hours meticulously cleaning and conditioning your heavy leather saddle, ensuring its leather remains supple and strong. The rhythmic rub of a polishing cloth on leather, the soft creak of the saddle tree, these were the constant sounds of this task. Your bridle, reins, and stirrups would also be inspected, cleaned, and repaired with immense care. This was a process that could take many hours, demanding absolute focus and deep respect for the tools of the knight's trade. The quiet sounds of maintenance, the soft rub of the polishing cloth, the gentle clink of metal against leather, all contributed to a profound sense of order and care that permeated a warhorse's disciplined life, a continuous act of readiness and reverence. The medieval warhorse also played a crucial role in maintaining order and patrolling the lord's lands, even during peacetime. Imagine yourself, a powerful warhorse, carrying your knight, slowly, silently, through the lord's vast domains. The sounds would be the rhythmic clop-clop of your hooves on the dirt roads, the gentle creak of the saddle, the subtle jingle of your bit, all blending into a peaceful rhythmic background as you traversed fields, woodlands, and small villages. This was a quiet, constant guardianship, a demonstration of noble authority through presence rather than overt action. The steady, unchanging rhythm of travel, the observation of the passing landscape, the connection between horse and rider, all contributed to a profound sense of purpose and quiet endurance. Feeding routines for warhorses were also meticulously managed, reflecting their immense value and the need to maintain their peak physical condition. Imagine the consistent schedule. Fresh hay delivered in the morning and evening, its dry, sweet aroma filling your stall. Regular portions of oats, barley, or other grains, carefully measured to provide the necessary energy for your demanding training. The sounds would be the soft rustle of hay, the rhythmic crunch of grain, the quiet slurping of water, all contributing to a predictable, comforting routine. This consistent, measured provision of sustenance was crucial for their health and strength, a silent testament to the care invested in these prized animals. The pervasive silence of the stable, when not actively engaged in specific tasks, could be profoundly comforting. You might stand for long stretches in your stall, quietly ruminating, listening to the soft sounds of other horses in their stalls, a gentle snort, a soft stomp, the rhythmic munching of hay, the sounds of the castle, the distant murmur of voices. The faint clang of a blacksmith would be muffled by the thick stone walls, blending into a soothing background hum. This immense unbroken silence allowed for deep rest and recovery, essential for the demanding life of a warhorse. Your thoughts, if animals possess them, might revolve around the simple comforts of food, water, and rest, or the familiar presence of your stable hand. As the sun began its slow, gradual descent towards the western horizon, painting the sky with fiery oranges, deep purples, and soft fading blues, the air gradually, slowly, began to cool again, bringing with it the damp, pervasive chill of the medieval night. The shadows lengthened, stretching endlessly across the castle courtyard and through the stables, before finally, inevitably, merging into the complete, profound darkness of night. The warhorse, weary from its day of disciplined training, meticulous care, and structured service, would slowly settle into its stall for the night. The sounds of the stable at night would be the soft, rhythmic breathing of sleeping horses, the gentle rustle of fresh straw bedding, the subtle creak of old timbers as the structure responded to the cooling night air, and the distant, muffled calls of watchmen or nocturnal animals from the surrounding forest, all blending into a soothing, natural lullaby. This deep, shared sleep, born of an entire day of unyielding discipline, constant service, and profound physical exertion, prepared its powerful body for the inevitable, relentless rhythm of the coming dawn, knowing that tomorrow the sun would rise again, and the endless, silent, demanding routines of medieval warhorse life, with all its gilded constraints and martial duties, would simply, quietly, continue guiding it, through sheer weariness, towards a deep, restorative sleep, a peaceful surrender to the ancient, eternal patterns of existence. Having deeply immersed ourselves in the intricate, meticulously ordered, and profoundly repetitive daily routines of a medieval knight, experiencing the persistent hum of the castle, sensing the pervasive sense of wood smoke and polished stone, and then contemplating the rigorous discipline of their personal grooming, endless training drills, and the meticulous care of their warhorses, let us now, slowly and with a profound shift in perspective, turn our gaze. We are about to step into a vastly different, yet equally disciplined and profoundly tranquil realm within the same vibrant civilization. The formal, ritualized world of medieval tournaments, and, perhaps even more fascinatingly, the ordeal by combat, a form of judicial duel. This is a narrative that seeks to transcend romanticized notions of spontaneous heroism, delving instead into the harsh, often unyielding, yet deeply repetitive and surprisingly uniform protocols that governed these stylized displays of martial prowess and even decided matters of justice. It was a world where immense physical strength intersected with profound, quiet ceremony, creating unique and pervasive psychological challenges that would profoundly test the very sensibilities of a modern individual, even amidst such controlled, ritualized violence. Imagine, for a long, quiet moment, the setting for a grand medieval tournament, a spectacle of both martial skill and elaborate pageantry. The field, or lists, would be meticulously prepared, a wide, open expanse of tamped-down earth or soft grass, perhaps bordered by wooden palisades or colorful banners fluttering gently in the breeze. Tents, emblazoned with heraldic devices, would be pitched around the perimeter, offering shade and private spaces for the participating knights and their retinues. The air would carry the faint, festive scent of roasting meats, of rich wine, and the earthy aroma of trampled grass and horse. The sounds would be a low, continuous murmur of the gathered crowd, their voices hushed with anticipation, punctuated by the gentle rustle of their festive clothing, the distant snort of a horse, or the soft clang of a blacksmith making last-minute repairs to a piece of armor. This atmosphere of subdued excitement, meticulously maintained, was designed to foster both entertainment and a profound respect for the martial skills on display. The preparations for a tournament night were themselves a long, deliberate, and deeply ritualistic affair, spanning many hours, often even days, before the actual event. Imagine the knight, in the quiet solitude of his tent, undergoing the painstaking process of donning his heavy, intricate armor. This was not a quick, single act, but a slow, methodical layering of dozens of individual pieces. First, the soft, padded undergarments, providing cushioning against the hard metal. Then, the intricate chainmail piece by heavy piece, its countless interlocking rings making a soft, rhythmic jingle as it was carefully put on. Over this, the plate armor, each polished steel plate carefully buckled and strapped into place by his squire, creating a formidable yet surprisingly flexible shell. The sounds would be soft, the gentle click of buckles, the subtle creak of leather straps, the rhythmic rasp of metal on metal as each piece was adjusted. This entire process, spanning an hour or more, was a continuous act of transformation, a quiet ritual of donning the very identity of a warrior. Once fully armored, the knight would mount his warhorse, a magnificent animal also meticulously prepared for the event. Imagine the sheer weight of the knight, perhaps 200 pounds or more, settling onto the horse's back. The horse itself would be adorned with rich caparisons, brightly colored fabrics emblazoned with its lord's heraldry, their heavy material rustling softly in the breeze. The sounds would be the deep thud of the knight's armored boot entering the stirrup, the soft snort of the horse, and the gentle creak of the elaborate saddle. The very act of mounting was a deliberate, controlled maneuver, reflecting the deep, intuitive bond between horse and rider, a partnership forged through countless hours of quiet training. The powerful warhorse would stand patiently, its muscles rippling beneath its polished coat, ready for the commands of its rider. The actual events of the tournament, though sometimes appearing chaotic, were profoundly structured and governed by strict rules, often overseen by heralds and marshals who ensured fair play and adherence to etiquette. Imagine the joust, the most iconic event. Two knights mounted on their powerful warhorses would position themselves at opposite ends of the lists, separated by a wooden barrier called a tilt. The sounds would be the soft murmur of the immense crowd, their voices hushed with anticipation, the gentle whinny of the horses, and the distant, almost imperceptible sound of a trumpet fanfare. Then, with a sudden, but synchronized surge, the horses would gallop towards each other, their hooves thundering on the packed earth, their lances held steady, aiming for their opponent's shield. The clash of the lances, if they connected, would be a loud, splintering sound, followed by the deep thud of a falling knight. or the triumphant roar of the crowd. This repeated ritualized charge, performed again and again, was a testament to immense skill, precision, and unwavering courage, yet also a profoundly repetitive display of controlled violence, a continuous, predictable rhythm of challenge and response. Beyond the joust, other tournament events, like the melee, involved groups of knights engaging in simulated combat. Imagine dozens of armored knights, their polished steel gleaming in the sun, clashing together in the dusty arena, their wooden or blunted steel swords striking shields and armor. The sounds would be a continuous cacophony of metal on metal, the rhythmic clang of swords, the heavy thud of impacts, the grunts of effort, all blending into a symphony of controlled combat. This was not a real battle to the death, but a highly disciplined practice, designed to hone martial skills, to test endurance, and to display prowess, all within a framework of strict rules. The rhythmic, repetitive nature of these simulated combats, performed day after day for hours on end, built immense physical stamina and strategic thinking, yet also created a peculiar kind of monotony, a predictable rhythm of controlled violence that defined a knight's public existence. Now, let us shift our attention to an even more formal and solemn ritual, the ordeal by combat, a form of judicial duel. In medieval times, when evidence was scarce or conflicting, a trial by combat was sometimes sanctioned by the law or by the church as a means of seeking divine judgment, believing that God would grant victory to the innocent. Imagine the profound gravity of such an event. The combatants, often knights, but sometimes even commoners if a champion fought on their behalf, would stand in a carefully marked arena, often within the castle courtyard or a designated field outside the city walls. The air would be heavy with an unspoken tension, a palpable sense of awe and dread. The sounds would be minimal, the hushed murmur of the few witnesses, the rustle of official robes, the distant call of a bird. The preparations for an ordeal by combat were meticulously ritualized, far more somber than those for a tournament. Both combatants would swear solemn oaths, often touching sacred relics, invoking God's judgment and affirming their innocence or the justice of their cause. Imagine the solemn voice of a priest, his words echoing softly in the stillness, administering the oath. The armor worn for such a duel might be lighter, more practical than full tournament armor, designed for agility rather than sheer spectacle. The weapons, often sharp, would be carefully inspected by marshals, ensuring fairness. The atmosphere was one of profound silence, broken only by the formal pronouncements of the judge or herald and the quiet, nervous breaths of the combatants. This was not a contest of skill alone, but a deadly serious appeal to divine justice, a moment of profound, quiet reckoning. The combat itself, though brief, would be intense and utterly focused. Imagine the two combatants, slowly, deliberately, approaching each other in the silent arena. The sounds would be minimal, the soft scuff of their boots on the earth, the gentle clang of their weapons, the rhythmic heavy breathing of the combatants. Each blow, each parry, each thrust, was delivered with absolute determination, for the stakes were nothing less than life and reputation. The duel was often fought until one combatant was incapacitated or yielded, sometimes even until death. The silence of the witnesses would be absolute, their eyes fixed on the deadly dance, waiting for the subtle shift that would determine the divine judgment. The moment of victory or defeat would be marked not by a triumphant roar, but by a quiet gasp from the witnesses, a sudden stillness as one combatant fell, ending the formal ordeal. The air would be thick with unspoken relief or profound sorrow. The consequences of an ordeal by combat were absolute and final. The victor was declared innocent, his cause vindicated by divine will. The vanquished, even if merely injured, was deemed guilty, his reputation ruined, his claims disproven, sometimes even facing further legal punishment or execution. Imagine the quiet, solemn procession of the victor, perhaps injured but vindicated, slowly leaving the arena, his footsteps echoing in the lingering silence. The vanquished, if alive, would be led away, his humiliation complete, his fate sealed. This profound finality, this unshakable belief in divine judgment through combat, added an immense weight to the ritual, making every moment of the duel one of quiet, terrifying significance. The silence that followed such an ordeal was deep, reflective, a communal contemplation on justice, fate, and the unpredictable will of God. The role of heralds and marshals, in both tournaments and judicial combats, was crucial in maintaining this formal silence and strict protocol. These officials, often elaborately dressed, would move with deliberate grace, their voices calm and authoritative, announcing the rules, presenting the combatants, and ensuring that every aspect of the ritual was conducted according to established custom. Imagine a herald, his voice clear and resonant, slowly announcing the names and titles of the competing knights, his words echoing across the lists. This formal, precise management ensured that even in moments of intense competition or mortal danger, an underlying sense of order and quiet discipline prevailed, transforming potentially chaotic events into structured, meaningful rituals. The long-term impact of these rituals on medieval society was profound, shaping not just the martial culture, but also the very understanding of justice, honor, and social order. Tournaments, while serving as entertainment, also provided essential training grounds for knights, honing their skills in a controlled environment, preparing them for the realities of warfare, instilling discipline through repetition. The ordeal by combat, though barbaric by modern standards, was a deeply rooted part of their legal system, a testament to a different understanding of truth and justice, profoundly influenced by their religious beliefs. These were not just isolated events. They were central to the medieval worldview, shaping their understanding of courage, honor, and divine will. The pervasive, underlying presence of these formal rituals, woven into the fabric of medieval noble life, fostered a unique perspective on existence itself. It created a profound appreciation for skill, for honor, and for the strict adherence to established protocols. The constant rhythm of training, the quiet anticipation of formal events, and the solemn acceptance of predetermined outcomes all contributed to a profound sense of continuity and order, a quiet acceptance of life's unpredictable currents even for those at its very peak. This deep, unchanging rhythm, this quiet harmony amidst life's challenges, will now gently guide your own mind towards a profound and dream-filled sleep, a peaceful surrender to the ancient, eternal patterns of existence. Having deeply immersed ourselves in the intricate, meticulously ordered, and profoundly repetitive daily routines of a medieval knight, experiencing the persistent hum of the castle, sensing the pervasive sense of wood smoke and polished stone, and then contemplating the rigorous discipline of their personal grooming, endless training drills, and the meticulous care of their war, and finally, having explored the formal, solemn rituals of tournaments and judicial combat, let us now, slowly and with a profound shift in perspective, turn our gaze. We are about to step into a vastly different, yet equally disciplined and profoundly tranquil realm within the same vibrant civilization. The inner world of the medieval noble household, the domestic life within the mighty castle, far beyond the clamor of the battlements and the dust of the training yard. This is a narrative that seeks to transcend romanticized notions of endless feasts and dramatic courtly love, delving instead into the harsh, often unyielding, yet deeply repetitive and surprisingly uniform protocols that governed the daily lives of lords, ladies, and their vast retinue. It was a world where immense privilege intersected with profound personal constraint, creating unique and pervasive psychological challenges that would profoundly test the very sensibilities of a modern individual, even amidst such ultimate luxury and power. Imagine, for a long, quiet moment, the very start of such a day for a noble in a medieval castle, deeply rooted in the ancient patterns of elite existence, yet profoundly different from any modern life. The hour is often still quite early, long before the first hint of golden light has even begun to fully illuminate the cold, gray eastern sky, which is still softly shrouded in the deep, cool, indigo blue of pre-dawn. You are awakened not by a jarring alarm, nor by the subtle shift in air, but by the gentle, almost imperceptible stirrings of your personal attendants, trained to move with the utmost discretion. Perhaps the soft, distant chiming of a small ornate clock from a nearby hall, or the low, almost imperceptible murmur of servants beginning their quiet preparations in the outer chambers, gently pulls you back from the depths of sleep. Your spacious bedchamber, often a solar or a richly appointed private room within the castle, feels cool and dark, its thick stone walls holding the night's coolness against the encroaching morning warmth. The air within carries a complex, clean, comforting scent of polished wood, of antique furniture, of old tapestries, and perhaps the subtle, lingering perfume of dried herbs or beeswax from a distant candle. There is no hard, yielding bed to endure. Your bed, often a grand four-poster affair with silk hangings and a soft mattress filled with down or feathers, offers unparalleled comfort, its smooth, linen sheets, a gentle caress against your body. You rise slowly, gracefully, your muscles perfectly rested, accustomed to a life devoid of strenuous physical labor. The polished wooden floor or finely tiled surface beneath your bare feet is cool, smooth, its texture unfamiliar with the roughness of earth. The process of preparing for the day for a medieval noble was an elaborate and deeply ritualistic affair, a central pillar of their daily existence, utterly dependent on a retinue of devoted attendants. There is no frantic rush. Instead, your personal maid or page, moving with trained grace and efficiency, would bring a basin of warm scented water for washing. Imagine splashing the warm, fragrant liquid onto your face, feeling its gentle caress awaken your skin, its subtle perfume filling your senses. Your hair, meticulously groomed and often cared for, would then be carefully brushed and styled by the gentle hands of your attendant. Dressing in your daily attire is another act of quiet, precise layering, often involving multiple delicate garments. You would carefully select your undergarments of fine linen or silk, which are then meticulously placed upon your body by your attendants. Over this, you would don your everyday noble robes, perhaps made of richly embroidered wool or fine linen that whispers softly as it settled around your form. Each fold, each knot, each intricate fastening is made with a deliberate hand, ensuring that the garment sits perfectly, reflecting the outer order that mirrored inner discipline and your precise status within the castle's strict hierarchy. The subtle rustle of the fine fabric as you move, the feel of its luxurious texture against your skin, are quiet sensations that become part of the background of your morning, a constant reminder of your privileged, yet constrained, existence. Breakfast, a light and refined meal, would be a serene affair, often taken in a private dining alcove or a small, intimate chamber, overlooking a tranquil inner courtyard or a distant, misty landscape. Imagine the delicate clinking of silver cutlery against fine pewter or ceramic plates, the gentle pouring of cool water or diluted wine into simple goblets. The aromas would be light and pleasant, the subtle, sweet scent of freshly baked white bread or delicate pastries, perhaps a piece of local cheese, fresh fruit from the castle orchards, or a small portion of cured meat. The conversation, if any, would be hushed, perhaps discussing the day's scheduled lessons or activities, or gentle news from within the castle. There would be no hurried rush, no sense of urgency. The meal was a time for calm, personal reflection, for savoring the quiet comforts of a perfectly ordered, secure home before the more formal engagements of the day truly began. The discreet movements of the household staff, ensuring every need was anticipated and met with silent grace, would contribute to an unbroken sense of peace, a constant underlying hum of well-being. Following breakfast, the noble's morning would often transition to the solemn duties of managing his vast estate, taking place in his private study or a dedicated administrative chamber within the castle's main keep. This room, often elegantly furnished yet intensely functional, would be filled with large, leather-bound ledgers, meticulously drawn maps of his domain rolled neatly on a sturdy table, and finely crafted writing implements. Here, the work was one of careful deliberation, not hurried reaction. He would receive reports from his steward, his bailiff, or his reeve, delivered with formal bows and hushed, respectful tones. These reports might detail the previous day's agricultural yields from his vast domain lands, the collection of taxes from his peasant tenants, the progress of small building repairs on the castle, or petitions from various segments of his society. Decisions were made not through shouting or dramatic pronouncements, but through calm, considered thought, often after long periods of silent contemplation, perhaps with the quiet counsel of a trusted clerk. Imagine the soft rustle of parchment scrolls being unrolled, the quiet scratching of a scribe's quill pen on vellum as decrees were penned, and the faint, methodical murmuring of data being read aloud by a meticulously trained official. This silent bureaucracy, running with seamless efficiency, was the unseen engine of his feudal power, a testament to meticulous planning and precise execution, ensuring the stability and prosperity of his lands. For the Lady Baroness, the morning might involve the quiet, meticulous management of her vast household, a complex undertaking that required profound organization and a calm, authoritative demeanor, a role often underestimated in its complexity. Imagine her moving gracefully through the castle's many rooms, quietly overseeing her large staff of maidservants, cooks, scullery maids, and other household workers, delegating tasks with quiet precision, ensuring the smooth operation of the castle kitchen, the larder, the laundry, or the children's quarters. Her voice would be calm, measured, giving instructions with quiet authority, her presence inspiring respectful diligence. She might spend hours engaged in correspondence, writing long, beautifully penned letters to family and friends, discussing family matters, social engagements, or even estate management issues. The gentle scratch of her quill pen on fine stationery, the soft rustle of paper, the quiet deliberation as she chose each word. These would be the dominant sounds of this activity. Or perhaps she would occupy herself with quiet needlework, her fingers moving rhythmically, meticulously, stitching intricate patterns onto fine fabric or creating delicate lace. The rhythmic prick of the needle, the soft pull of the thread, would create a soothing, repetitive sound, a form of active meditation. The air in her private sitting room or solar would be still, serene, perhaps carrying the faint scent of polished wood and dried lavender. Midday would bring a simple, functional meal, the dinner, often eaten in a communal hall but without the full formality of the evening feast. Then, a significant part of the afternoon for the noble might be dedicated to leisure, often involving activities directly related to his cultural pursuits or personal upkeep. This might involve a quiet, solitary stroll through the castle grounds, perhaps inspecting the outer defenses, observing the activities in the smithy from a distance, or simply contemplating the vastness of his lands stretching out towards the horizon. Imagine the feel of rough, ancient stone beneath his heavy boots as he walked along the battlement, the gentle whisper of the wind around the ancient turrets, the distant muffled sounds of the village below. Or perhaps he would spend time with his falcons or hunting hounds, tending to their needs with a quiet, patient hand, preparing for a future, more active hunt. The soft rustle of falcon feathers, the gentle whimper of a hound, these were the sounds of his animal companions. For the Lady Baroness, the afternoon might involve more refined, yet equally tranquil, pursuits. She might retire to her private gardens, if the castle was fortunate enough to possess one, a small enclosed space filled with fragrant herbs and delicate flowers. Imagine the soft crunch of gravel under her light slippers as she strolled along winding paths, admiring the meticulously arranged flower beds, or perhaps gathering a few fragrant herbs for the castle's kitchen or infirmary. The air would be filled with the sweet, pervasive scent of roses, lilies, and countless other blossoms. The only sounds would be the gentle hum of bees, the distant, muffled chirping of unseen birds from the dense foliage, and the soft rustle of leaves in a barely perceptible breeze. These moments of quiet solitude in nature provided a serene contrast to the more formal duties of her day. As evening approached, the pace would subtly shift towards more formal, yet still serene, social engagements and the main evening meal, the supper or feast. This was the most important meal of the day, a long, leisurely affair, often lasting for hours, consumed in the grand great hall. Imagine the soft glow of flickering torches and numerous tallow candles illuminating the vast stone hall, its long wooden tables laden with richly prepared dishes. The aromas would be complex and enticing: roasted game, fragrant root vegetables, savory pies, and the rich, earthy scent of fine local wine. The sounds would be subtle, the gentle clinking of pewter tankards or silver cutlery against ornate plates, the quiet pouring of wine into goblets, and the hushed, intellectual conversation among the noble household and any esteemed guests, always polite, always measured. Servants would move with near-perfect silence, serving each course with effortless grace, their soft shoes barely audible on the stone or rush-covered floor. This was a time for refined enjoyment, for storytelling, for quiet intellectual discourse, or for listening to music, all conducted in a tranquil, controlled environment, fostering deep thought and calm exchange. Evenings following the elaborate supper were often dedicated to quiet, intellectual entertainment or simple relaxation within the castle walls. Imagine sitting in a spacious chamber, perhaps near a grand, roaring fireplace, its embers glowing softly, casting long, dancing shadows on the stone walls. The warmth radiated outward, a comforting presence against the cool evening air. A minstrel might play soft, melodic tunes on a lute or a small harp, their gentle harmonies filling the air, inviting a sense of peaceful contemplation. Some might engage in quiet games of chess or backgammon, their movements precise, the soft click of game pieces the only sound, requiring quiet concentration. Others might gather to listen to a story being read aloud from a beautifully illustrated manuscript, the reader's calm measured voice a gentle drone, inviting the listeners to drift into the tales of distant lands or heroic deeds. This was a time for intellectual stimulation, for aesthetic pleasure, but all within a framework of profound quietude and controlled elegance, a testament to the pursuit of knowledge and refined leisure. The pervasive sense of order and quiet dignity within the medieval castle was maintained by a vast, largely unseen, network of household servants, squires, knights, and other retainers. They moved through the complex with a quiet efficiency that bordered on invisibility. Imagine their soft, almost imperceptible footsteps on the stone floors, their hushed whispers as they communicated tasks, their seamless execution of every chore, serving meals, maintaining the vast kitchens, tending to the stables, patrolling the walls, cleaning every surface until it gleamed or performed without drawing undue attention, ensuring that the noble's environment remained undisturbed and perfectly ordered. Their silent presence was a testament to the meticulous training and discipline instilled throughout the entire household, creating an atmosphere where every need was anticipated and met with seamless grace, reinforcing the sense of effortless authority and control. Even the knights, when not on active duty, would engage in quiet, disciplined practice of their martial skills in the castle yard. The rhythmic clang of practice swords or the soft thud of a lance against a quinton all blended into the background hum of a well-run military household. As night deepened and the final torches in the great hall were softly extinguished by discreet hands, the mighty castle would slowly, gradually, settle into a profound, encompassing silence. The only sounds would be the soft creaking of old timbers as the vast structure responded to the cooling night air, perhaps the distant, muffled hoot of an owl from the surrounding forest, or the gentle rhythmic breathing of the sleeping inhabitants within their luxurious chambers. This was the deep, restorative sleep earned through a day of structured elegance, of quiet management, and of serene social interaction. It was a profound rest that prepared the mind and body for the similar, unhurried rhythms of the coming dawn, a world of ordered splendor, far removed from the physical toil of the peasant. And as you imagine yourself settling into this deep, quiet comfort, feeling the soft embrace of fine linen, and listening to the profound stillness of an ancient, elegant medieval castle, allow your own mind to find its perfect stillness, drifting gently, peacefully, into a deep and truly dream-filled sleep.